so today, as a form of celebration and to also integrate health and well-being into their daily lives, we are celebrating them and holding this wellness retreat.
The work that Helen's Daughters is doing is not, as I said, for this generation. It is for generations to come, and they are actually a critical part in how our country develops, because when we feed our
Hi, my name is Malaika and I'm representing Ico Farm. I've been able to meet so many wonderful customers and I've been able to showcase my CMOS gel, CMOS products. We have seasonings, vegetables, herbs, spices. Every single lady here has something to offer and it's just been a wonderful experience.
So today we have our very first Helen's Daughters Wellness Retreat. Many people are probably asking us why a wellness retreat for an agricultural organization. Well, with Helen's Daughters we're trying to do things very differently. We look at agriculture as an entry point to overall development. So often farmers never have a chance to stop and unwind, and that's why our farming populations are also declining from stress-related diseases. So today, as a form of celebration and to also integrate health and well-being into their daily lives, we are celebrating them and holding this wellness retreat.
The work that Helen's Daughters is doing is not, as I said, for this generation. It is for generations to come, and they are actually a critical part in how our country develops, because when we feed ourselves and we feed our children the right way, we become healthier, we become happier, we live longer, fewer incidences of chronic disease, and we're just a more productive nation.
I think we at the Trust, we think that Helen's Daughters is a wonderful organization, and we very much have enjoyed hosting the ladies and the few gentlemen here today. We think it's a lovely future to partner together for other events like this.
I would like to thank Mrs. Kipling Peru for going out there and digging out for the female farmers that was hidden within the field. It's actually a great opportunity to let the world know that what a man can do, the women also can do it.
Not only a very productive aspect, but since it's a hotel, it has to have that aesthetic.
Today's session was very hands-on for us. We were able to actually start the process of the composting, and we understood why we were doing each phase, which made it even more informative for all the women farmers that were here. We really appreciate the time that the instructor took to explain this process as we went along, and I believe that we as farmers will now, going forward, prepare our own composting in our farms, because we know now how important it is to organic farming. And we want to thank Helen's Daughters for the opportunity today to expose us as women farmers to composting. And also we had an opportunity to visit our farm here at Hotel Chocolat. Everyone was very excited about today's activity.
Of nutrients in our soils is a huge issue in St. Lucia. Obviously, we've been a monoculture society for so long because of bananas that we have really essentially depleted our soils. That's why composting is so important. Many of our farmers don't understand that everything starts with the soil and that soil health is essential. That's why we're hosting these particular trainings, because we want our women to understand the nutrients in their soils, what they need
to be a little familiar face, but we have an official new Helen's Daughters MC in the name of Miss Pauline Peter. I'd like to introduce Miss Peter to welcome all of you this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Farmers live and work by faith, and the harvest, quite rightly, is a blessing from God. There is gratification in the harvest, so let us thank God for the blessings bestowed. I now invite you to stand for a minute of prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for giving us the wisdom to plant for the next generation. We understand the importance of healthy lifestyles. Help us to continue feeding the people. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. You may sit. I wish to recognize the presence of Dr. Virginia Albert, Minister for the Public Service, Home Affairs, Labor and Gender Affairs. His Excellency, Mr. Francis Etienne, Ambassador of France to the OECS. His Excellency, Luis Manuel Lopez Moreno, Ambassador of Mexico to St. Lucia and the Eastern Caribbean. Ms. Sunita Daniel, Chief Executive Officer, Export St. Lucia. Dr. Uriah King Snack, the Director of Agricultural Services, Ministry of Agriculture. Dr. Merle Clark, President, St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association. Dr. Tanya Destang Beaubray, Bay Medical Center. Dr. Kurt Harris, Assistant Principal, Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. Dr. Catherine McCann, Head of Agriculture, Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. Mr. Cornelius Sidoney, Managing Director of St. Lucia Development Bank. Ms. Cheryl Rennick, Managing Director, Rennick and Company. Mr. Omari Frederick, Senior Marketing and Communications, Bank of St. Lucia. Mrs. Soraya Best Joseph, Managing Director of Massey. Marketing Manager, Massey. Mr. Cavell Prosper, Sustainability and Ethics Manager, Hotel Chocolat. Ms. Sophie Picavet, Director of Alliance Française. Ms. Kathleen Carew, Executive Director of Helen's Daughters. Other invited guests and the general members of Helen's Daughters. Welcome. Good morning. Bonjour. I wish to thank you for taking time off your busy schedule to celebrate International Day of Rural Women with Helen's Daughters. I now invite Ms. Malika Elibox, a hard-working farmer and a dedicated board member of Helen's Daughters. She is well known for her fruit-infused Simos gels, to do the welcome remarks.
Pleasant good morning to all, and welcome to the Day of International Rural Women. Of course, it is tomorrow, but we're recognizing today, okay? This year, the International Day of Rural Women puts a spotlight on rural women cultivating good food for all. This International Day recognizes the critical role and contribution of rural women in enhancing agricultural and rural development, improving food security, and eradicating rural poverty. Rural women and girls play essential roles in food systems, food production to processing, preparation, consumption, and distribution of food, as well as in securing household and community nutrition. Achieving gender equality and empowering women is not only the right thing to do, but is a critical ingredient in the fight against extreme poverty, hunger, and malnutrition. Giving women the same opportunities as men could raise agricultural production by 2.4 to 4% in the poorest regions, and the number of malnutritioned people could be reduced by 12 to 17%. Yet, they face significant discrimination when it comes to land and livestock ownership, equal pay, participation in decision-making entities, and access to resources, credit, and market. In addition to this background, the war in Ukraine has had a devastating impact not just on Ukraine women, but on women and girls worldwide, especially rural women. According to the latest UN Women report, the current disruption to the food and energy markets has only intensified gender disparities, causing rates of food insecurity, malnutrition, and energy poverty. This ensuing cost of living crisis has acutely threatened women's livelihoods, health, and well-being. It has been propelled by the war's disruption of oil and gas supplies and staple food commodities, alongside the skyrocketing food, fuel, and fertilizer prices. Alarming increases in gender-based violence, transactional sex for survival, domestic abuse, and women's and girls' unpaid care and domestic workloads are further endangering women's and girls' physical and mental health. This International Day, under the theme Rural Women Cultivating Good Food for All, let's recognize the work of these sheroes in the food system of St. Lucia and, by extension, the region. And let's claim rural areas with equal opportunities for all. Helen's Daughters agenda calls for transforming our food systems so that all people have access to healthy diets that contribute to the restoration of nature, address climate change, and are adapted to local circumstances. By ensuring that rural women and girls participate in and benefit from this transformation, we can help deliver the Sustainable Development Goals, including zero hunger and gender equality. Helen's Daughters has been around for several years, and while we have achieved a lot, we realize that everyone may not be aware of what our female farmers have accomplished after signing up with Helen's Daughters. We're launching a campaign to inform the public on just what we've been doing. Just ahead of International Day of Rural Women is the perfect day to do so, because this campaign highlights the accomplishments of rural women and the efforts of our organization to do so. This is the second time that International Day of Rural Women is observed in St. Lucia. We'll also be observing International Day of Rural Women in St. Kitts and Nevis in a big way with our official launch in St. Kitts tomorrow, Saturday. Helen's Daughters Reimagined simply means pivoting to achieve more than we thought was possible when we began. I thank you.
Thank you, Malaika, for the words on enlightenment. I now invite Ms. Kuru to the podium to give general remarks. As we all know, Helen's Daughters is the brainchild of Ms. Kathleen Kuru. Ms. Kuru is the Executive Director of Helen's Daughters. Ms. Kathleen Kuru is a global champion for women's economic empowerment at UN Women, a goodwill ambassador for sustainable development, and her most recent accolade is her nomination for 2022 Women for the Future among 50 rising stars in the ECG, Environmental Social Governance field, in partnership with Tesco. Kuru was the first listee from the Caribbean. Ms. Kuru, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming on a Friday morning. I didn't expect my colleague Pauline to give me that welcome, because the day is actually about our rural women. So they are the true champions. Friends, partners, collaborators, and well-wishers, today is honestly a very emotional day for us. If you look around, it may not look like much, but it took a lot of sacrifice, a lot of collaboration, a lot of toil, and a lot of sleepless nights, as Pauline would know. 5 years ago, a young girl started Helen's Daughters with the intent of impacting the capacity of rural women in St. Lucia, hence the name Helen. 5 years later, we have hit the shores of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and St. Kitts and Nevis, who also claim now to be Helen's Daughters. Now, for the last 2 years, when persons in our sister isles ask me why the name Helen's Daughters, I've been making things up along the way. It has been very awkward, and I've been thinking of how to justify the name. So a few days ago, I actually looked up the meaning of Helen. And Helen is actually a light or a torch. And in my opinion, Helen's Daughters is a light and a torch that is lighting the path to the new agricultural revolution that is taking place in the Caribbean. On the eve of International Rural Women's Day, I actually want to start the celebrations off in the spirit of our reggae prophetess coffee, as gratitude is a must. So, as so many of you have planted a seed here, and in a sense you've been able to see the fruits of your investment, I first want to honor some of our rural women who are here today. Helen's Daughters would have been just an idea, if not the women who form a part of it now, 100 strong, in St. Lucia and 200 in the other islands. There would be, if I had to mention every single name, there would be no time for any other speeches and so forth. But to my sisters, to the women that we serve, thank you for your sacrifice, for entrusting us with your dreams, your hopes, and even your fears, and know that we are right here beside you. To our board, no organization can represent equity, transparency, and the value of ethics without a governing body. And I have to say a sincerest thank you to Mr. Dunstan DeMille, although Massey says they claim him, but that's actually our godfather. Miss Tasha Nathanson, Miss Theodora Morrill, Miss Malika Elibox, Mrs. Liana Thomas Dolce, Miss Kelly Gonzag, and Miss Albertha John. Thank you. Thank you for keeping us on our toes. And of course, to our partners and supporters, today's event is also to highlight the power of partnerships, as there are so many persons here today who are just as responsible for our success and our reimagination. Alias Wasses and also the Embassy of France, thank you for allowing us to call the Pyramid our home and location to our farmers' markets. To the British High Commission, thank you for believing in a youth-led organization and being our first official donor, which solidified our ability to extend programs in 2 countries and for allowing us to reach COP26, agitating for support for climate resilience. To our friends at Hotel Chocolat, and I have to say a special thank you to John, Joe, Cavell, Canil, Angus, Beanie, and the ground staff, and Merle. Our thank yous will never ever be enough. You are the very representation of partnership, and our first official farm exists on Project Chocolat. Neither would we have had our apprenticeship program or our co-designing retreats and our recently held health and wellness fair in Soufrière. Mr. Thaddeus Constantine, our agricultural guru who likes to work behind the scenes. He's right here, Thaddeus. He is our brain behind our farm design and a mentor to many of our women. Dr. Merle Clark, I don't know why she sits in the back, but Dr. Merle Clark and the St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association, you are our superwoman. You believed in the belief that there is a linkage between agriculture and health and wellness, and you've been able to help us run these rural health and wellness fairs without a hitch thus far. To Bank of St. Lucia, and specifically Mr. Omari Frederick, I thank you for being all the bank that we need. But on top of that, I'm really unsure that Omari hasn't been sick of us as yet for all the letters he's received for tents and chairs and table rentals for our farmers markets and our ad spots, but luckily he hasn't gotten sick of us just yet. So thank you once again. To Massey, our partners at Massey, as I've said, Mr. Dunstan DeMille is our godfather. Ms. Saraya Best Joseph, thank you for allowing us to be a partner for our farm-to-table cooking show, Nourishing Helen, which season 2 will be on its way next year. To St. Lucia Hotel and Tourism Association, insurance has been a key thing for us, and there's a special person who managed to make that linkage happen, although she's in the back. But to Dr. Tanya Destang Bobre as well for making that linkage. Because of SLHTA and our honorary membership, we now have been able to extend subsidized group medical insurance to our farmers. So thank you once again. To Renwick and Company Limited, you continue to be a friend that we've always needed. Thank you for the subsidies on our inputs for our farmers. To C&P Trucking and Equipment Rental for the bus services, the emceeing on those long road trips, all our farmers know Randy. And to many of the persons that I have not mentioned, please know that it was not purposefully done. It has been a very stressful time. But thank you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your words. Thank you for being here. I just want to say before I end with all the thank yous, again, this could not have been done without a collective. And I just want to say a special thank you to my real boss, the mother of our collective, Miss Pauline Peter, our operations manager, for keeping me relaxed during all the tension. To my communications associates who are not here today, but I know Dentricia and Nelsie are probably looking in. To some of our male allies who tend to be at every single event and are in the behind the scenes, thank you, Wolf. Thank you, Alan, for everything that you do for us, for making us look good as usual. I see a familiar face, and I just had to say also, thank you to Miss Sunita Daniel from Export St. Lucia as well for believing in us, for constantly supporting us as well, and obviously finally to the Ministry of Agriculture for also paving a way for us to make our way in this field. I'll be honest with you and say that we never imagined that we would have gotten to this point, at least not so soon. This is why we are extremely thrilled to share the reimagined version of Helen's Daughters with you today. Now, you don't have to be concerned. We're not switching things up completely. Instead, we're giving ourselves the leverage to grow past any self-assumed boundaries and impact and empower as many women as possible. And with your continued support, we know we can do it. A reimagined Helen's Daughters will provide relevant training, job opportunities, and opportunities to earn a livable wage for women across the Caribbean and who knows, maybe Africa. Helen's Daughters Reimagined means being unafraid to put our foot through new doors and break barriers on behalf of our ladies. It means tackling perennial injustices like women's access to land and the bureaucracy around establishing income-generating activities. On top of that, a reimagined Helen's Daughters will be unashamed, loud, and proud to tell the world what we've accomplished. In just a little while, we'll share a brief video that highlights some of our major accomplishments in the past 10 years 10 months, I wish 10 years, 10 months alone. And at the risk of tooting our own horn, I will say that it's quite impressive. But before we go into this, today we have a surprise reveal, and this could not have been possible without a rural woman herself, Miss Louise Victor, Mrs. Louise Victor Frederick, I should say, to be politically correct, who about a year ago when we first met, we conceptualized what Helen's Daughters would have been reimagined, and today we can see the physical manifestation of this. So I like to present to you, ladies and gentlemen, the new look and brand of Helen's Daughters Reimagined. A more modern look and one that represents our current and future, not member islands, but member countries. We believe that Helen's Daughters, while it sprouts from a tiny island in the Caribbean, can be recognized as a global non-profit affecting rural women everywhere. I just want to say a small thank you finally to Mr. Shilan Gittins, a rural young man, the brother of actually one of our members, who was also responsible for this reimagination. So thank you once again, everyone, for being here. I appreciate it.
Wow. It does take a village to raise a child, because the number of thank yous that I heard Miss Carew give when she called herself that young girl who just came up with an idea. She has so many people to thank, and I am sure that you all feel proud to see that her idea has blossomed and the Helen's Daughters is growing steadily. Yeah. Okay. At this point, we invite Miss Carew again to do. Okay, we have our brand reveal occurring. Yes. This will be Helen's Daughters' new logo.
When Helen's Daughters was founded, we never imagined the impact that we would have had, not just in St. Lucia, but across the region. Since our inception 5 years ago, we've reached 1,200 women and benefited more than 3,000 men, women, and children indirectly. We've held 18 programs this year alone, serving rural women and their communities. But don't just take it from me, listen to our ladies.
Helen's Daughter might have started small, but we are definitely mighty. Our programs are created for women, by women. We put words into action by creating the farmer tours and our activism network, investing 3,000 to prepare our farmers. We have hosted farmers market, which have created new markets for members of Helen's Daughters.
At Helen Daughters, we believe in the power of partnership. Through our collaboration with Hotel Chocolat, we've employed 3 young women from Super and Choiseul, including me, under our apprenticeship program, totaling $45,000. Additionally, we've covered the cost of tuition for 2 young women with academic interest in agriculture to the tune of $10,000 at the salute. Rural community. That's why we've held 3 health fairs with the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Helen Daughters has invested in $10,000 to serve 405 patients.
In the past year, we've also worked hard with our ladies. HD donated and installed water tanks to 10 of its members, totaling $20,000. We've also developed a Helen's Daughters ID program, which enables our members to discount at Renukan Company, and we've also given out vouchers totaling $6,200 in farmer inputs.
Helen's Daughters continues to work as an independent, non-profit organization benefiting women from St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and St. Kitts and Nevis. In fact, we've invested $40,000 in training programs in our sister islands and trained 224 women from those countries. We remain dedicated to the cause of empowering rural women and reimagining the perception of agriculture in the region. We could not do this without our tenacious members, funders, and you, the public.
Do you want to become part of our story? Join the Helen's Daughters movement.
So, we thought that just telling you about the experiences of the other country wasn't enough, and that's why we shared these little pieces of video bits with you. I hope you enjoyed. At this point,
what inspired me and my sister to begin farming would be both a love of being outdoors and nature, and of course one self-sufficient later on in life. My sister Carol, she did a complete training because I had already started the coconut farm. She was able to use her networking with the persons in the WhatsApp group to help give me advice and experience, such as the method I'm using right now, which is the low tilling. She said that the trade was actual in ease because it was giving advice. My future plans for my farm are great. They're big. This section is just a nursery from a jelly tree. I intend to have hundreds of trees. I intend to ship jelly off this island. And all the negative spaces in between, I'm intended to put tea bush because I want to do a local tea bag. They also have aloe vera and some other plants I can make face masks. Everything and every should be used from the beginning to the end. From my actual jelly you could drink down to its husk will be used. Everything should be eco-friendly.
I'm Janelle King from East Kingstown, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I started farming because I needed to understand how to farm for my condition, because I needed to use food to help reverse a health condition. The training and the networking and also the resources that I got from Women Farmers Academy SVG was exactly what I needed, right? Helen's Daughters through WFA SVG really helped me to put me on track to where I want to go for 2023. So I'm just grateful. My future plans is to launch my business, Home Garden, to the public. That way persons who have conditions like I do, NCDs, can have an opportunity to access affordable food that can help them reverse their condition.
My name is Decima Correa. I'm from Queens Drive in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I got into this sort of farming because I wanted to have a more healthy way of eating, and I wanted to take better control, or more control I should say, over what I put into my body. I wanted to have the supply of that would be my vegetables, my herbs, and my cucurbits, which would be like watermelons. Helen's Daughters, my experience with fruit bag. Many of the things I have started to do on my farm into with use of certainly things Mishka Edwards sustainable agriculture and making use of the weed barriers. And in terms of network, I have noticed that there is great treasure trove in terms of nutrition. Do I plan to be a farmer that maybe make into would be easier to manage?
Okay, we have come to the end of our video bits, and our last video incidentally summarized it perfectly. Helen's Daughters provide some great networking for our sister islands. When Miss Curry mentioned that Helen meant touch or light, you can now see the linkage, because definitely their involvement with Helen's Daughters has made the farmers, the female farmers, farmers in St. Kitts Nevis and St. Vincent better able to advertise themselves. At this point, I'm going to call on Pearline to introduce to you a new initiative that Helen's Daughters embarked on this year in the name of Helen's Daughters Scholarship. Pearline?
Helen Daughters have established an annual scholarship for two of our female scholars, for two of our female students, Bian Bess and Maisha Oje. I now invite you to come to the podium to give your testimonials.
A pleasant good morning to all. I am Maisha Oje, one of the recipients of a scholarship from Helen's Daughters. Before I delve into my backstory, I would like to express a heartfelt thank you to Helen's Daughters for embracing me as one of their own and offering me an opportunity of a lifetime. I joined Helen's Daughters with the guidance of a sister, where I then spoke to two executives who invited me to their farmers market that very same weekend. Ever since, I have been attending every single activity that I possibly can because honestly, from day one, I undoubtedly felt and received so much love and guidance from each and every one of my sisters. My passion and love for the agricultural sector was heavily influenced by my dad, Mr. Mahoney Oje, who often strayed away from your modern day presence and gifted me livestock instead. From a tender age, I grew a profound understanding and love for the agricultural sector and became vehemently determined to one day own my own eco-sustainable farm and create an increase in food security right here in Helen of the West Indies. I must admit, however, as with most of life's journeys, the decision did not come easy, as I have delved in several other sectors, including food and beverage, boat crew, tourism, childcare, before I finally followed through with my true passion, agriculture. I remember one of the questions asked during my scholarship interview: how did COVID affect me? However, COVID did not affect me. COVID rather inspired me. COVID brought me to my knees where Mother Earth embraced me with branches of warmth and love. And it was there, in that quiet period of isolation, quarantine, and self-reflection, I realized that, hey, I am a farmer. Through my dedication to the agricultural sector, not only did I realize during COVID, growing my own crops and livestock created food security for myself and my family, but I could also use that wealth of knowledge to teach or relay that information to others like myself. Because you know what they say, it is one thing to give a man a fish when he is hungry. Sorry. Oh, sorry. It is one thing to give a man a fish when he is hungry, but it is a gift of a lifetime to teach him how to fish. And with that gentle whispering reminder that I am a farmer, I made it my duty to pursue my passion no matter what challenges I face. I began my journey at Sir Arthur Lewis Community College at the beginning of 2022 and got accepted into the agribusiness program, which began in September of this year. This was one of many situations where I knew what I wanted to do, why, I just didn't know how. Nonetheless, I had this gut feeling. Do you guys know that feeling when everything inside you says it's going to be okay and your whole body feels at ease? Just like that tender embrace of Mother Earth, Helen's Daughters embraced me wholeheartedly and brought about a whole level of gratitude and love in my heart. At that moment, it was truly an emotional experience for me because when I began my agricultural journey at Sir Arthur, I did not for a second know how I would have made it through financially. There may never be enough words to fully express how eternally grateful I am for this opportunity, but I can say to Helen's Daughters that I promise with all my heart to stick by their side, not only to genuinely give back to the organization, but actively be an ambassador, create food security, spread the word, and encourage as many women as possible to join the wonderful field of agriculture. For the seed she sows in the sweet, fertile soils of Helen will surely reap rewards for her far greater than any mind can conceive. One thing I would like to leave with all of you today is simply, whether it was a salad, a slice of watermelon, a piece of bread, or a piece of chicken, if you ate today, thank a farmer. Thank you again, Helen's Daughters, for granting me this opportunity of a lifetime.
Good morning, everyone. I am beyond based. Okay, I'll begin. I grew up in a rural community of Warden where my grandparents were farmers. My grandfather would wake up early to do the more tedious tasks like plowing, while my grandmother was responsible for weeding the garden and selling the produce. From, from there, I developed an interest in agriculture. My grandmother once joked that she foresaw that I would become a vendor. Additionally, my late uncle took part in the seasonal farm program in Canada. Being part of that environment made me begin thinking of the possibilities that lie in agriculture. I began imagining the probability of managing a farm and overseeing the work being done on the farm while guiding the workers. Moreover, in my fourth year at secondary school, COVID-19 struck, and the only industry or industries that seemed to thrive was agriculture related. Persons demanded more farm produce or flocked to the supermarkets and emptied the shelves. Prior to the pandemic and to the present, the Taiwanese were also investing heavily in the agricultural sector of St. Lucia. These investments range from the education of policymakers to the training of farmers in the production of various crops. All those events made me realize that the field is growing and that human resource would be required in proportion to grow the industry. I think Helen's Daughters is a great organization, especially as it targets women in agriculture. It embraces the spirit that I grew up in, where it was acceptable for women to be involved in agriculture. I had been following Helen's Daughters on Facebook and Instagram and the various activities held throughout the Caribbean. My final year at school, I was attracted to the internship program. However, because I was only 17, I doubted that I would be accepted in the program, but I did not lose hope. So I called Pauline and I spoke to her about it. And she told me, go ahead and send your resume and your CV and whatnot, and I did. Later on, I found out that there was a scholarship offer for females. I was ecstatic about it, that since I have an opportunity to further my education, given my family's financial constraints. When I received the scholarship, I felt overwhelmed, as I was given the privilege to be associated with like-minded females who see a future in agriculture. I am aware that with these privileges, I hope to be part of Helen's Daughters for years to come and impact other women as I have been impacted. Helen's Daughters has a community spirit, and giving back is obviously a mantra held by the organization. I hope to be part in some of these activities, including the health fair in the event that this becomes an annual activity. I am currently pursuing an associate degree at the Salford Lewis Community College in Agri-Entrepreneurship. I am hoping to gain all the knowledge necessary for my dream job, which is becoming an extension officer. I would like to say thank you to Helen's Daughters for granting me this wish. Thank you.
Thank you, Maisha and Bian. If I didn't say earlier, I will say it now. The scholarship covers all tuition fees as well as an internship at our headquarters throughout the duration of their studies. I now call on Miss Pelita Felix. She is an apprentice at the Hotel Chocolat. We have established a partnership with Hotel Chocolat to provide the ever all-female agri-entrepreneurship, agri-apprenticeship program for two young women from Soufrière in the names of Carissa and Pelita. Pelita, come please. Well.
A special good morning to you all. Thank you for attending our campaign and brand relaunch regarding the importance of agriculture. Today, I am here before you to present our journey within the agricultural field as an apprentice. As we all know, agriculture plays a critical role in the entire life of a given economy and a major contribution to our lives. However, as a young apprentice, its benefits has prepared us for the field of work, hands-on practice, and skill experiences with the use of machinery and advanced technology. Agriculture is self-sufficient and dependent on Mother Nature and due to its powerful sources. This is why Thomas Jefferson says, and I quote, "Agriculture is our wisest pursuit because it will in the end contribute to most real wealth, good morals, and happiness." I thank you.
Thank you very much, Beleta. I now call on Dr. Aurea King-Snack, the Director of Agricultural Services, Ministry of Agriculture, to give brief remarks.
Thank you very much and good morning, everyone. Pleasant good morning to you all. I'd like to adopt the protocol that was already established. And I would like to say that achieving poverty reduction, food and nutrition security, and rural development is highly dependent on the empowerment of rural women. It is well known that rural women are the backbones to rural households and communities. They continue to play a pivotal role in the nurturing and sustainability of their livelihoods and their families. According to the Food and Agricultural Organization, women make up 43% of the global agricultural labor force, yet they face significant discrimination when it comes to land, ownership, equal pay, decision-making, etc. It has been said that giving women the same opportunities as men could raise agricultural production by up to 4% in the poorest regions. I stand here happy today to say that about 38% of all our registered farmers in St. Lucia are women. They participate in all aspects of production, whether it be livestock, apiculture, aquaculture, fisheries, CMOS, floral, agro-processing, and even the Director of Agricultural Services. This is a significant achievement as our women are now highlighting the important contribution they continue to make in the agricultural sector. And given their nurturing character, their drive towards ensuring Fair Helen remains food and nutrition secure. The mandate of the Ministry of Agriculture is to ensure that our country can feed itself, placing much emphasis on the development of our rural communities. We continue to collaborate with internal and external agencies promoting gender balance projects to improve our agricultural sector. We build our capacity to include gender in the development of our work programs. The ministry continues to pledge its support to the work of Helen's Daughters as it strives to give rural women a place at the table for decision and discussions. We have come a long way, though there is still a long way to go. I want us on this International Day of Rural Women to recognize the hard work of these sheroes in the food systems in St. Lucia, the region, and the rest of the world. On behalf of the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Food Production, and Rural Development, let me say Happy International Day of Rural Women to you all. Keep up the good work and let us claim equality within the agricultural sector. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Snack and Ministry of Agriculture. Miss Ministry of Agriculture and Miss Nag, they're just one of our many partners. As you know, Helen Daughters is an NGO. I now call on Dr. Merle Clark to give some brief remarks. I know earlier Clifton said that she is sitting at the back, but if we were to say we were having a health fair at 12, Miss Clark, Dr. Clark would be right here with us, way to the front. So,
good morning, everybody. Brief and I don't necessarily always come in the same sentence, but I understand the need to be brief today. Let me just say, you almost made me cry this morning. Being here, what I feel is inspired. And I think what Helen's Daughters is doing is inspiring. And not saying yes really was not an option. My vehicle is down today. I had to get to the hospital very early. But I made a point of doing so because I know I needed to be here. I'm getting emotional again. Needed to be here today because we believe in what you're doing. We believe in rural women. We believe our ethos essentially mirrors that of Helen's Daughters, of giving back, of helping others, of understanding that there are sectors of our society which are perhaps more marginalized than others, and ensuring that we give them a voice, that we give them a seat at the table. And our rural women certainly fall in that category. I am a rural woman, and certainly when, as you said, the health fairs, you don't necessarily want to wake up on a rainy Saturday morning and go do a health fair, but we understand the importance of it. This month, for example, is being celebrated as, well, St. Lucia joins the rest of the world in observing breast cancer awareness. And that, of course, is another message. Dr. Tanya Bobre, for example, has an activity this evening, and every year she does it. And we understand the importance of continuing to educate. We are what we eat. We understand that. And our rural women guarantee that we get, and they will continue with the help of Helen's Daughters, to ensure the sustainability of our food supply, to ensure food security, which is important. I think everybody in this room agrees with that. If it's green, just the ethos, just going green, doing green. If it's green, I'm in, and that has nothing to do with Maria Garetti and SGC. But if it's green, I'm in. And I don't necessarily have the greenest thumb in the world. I've always tried to have, from the age of 5, I think I've tried to plant stuff that never grew, but I'm doing better. And again, even at those health fairs, and this is about partnership, you get tips. And right now I could say, with all the pride in the world, I have 3 avocado trees and a coconut tree, and I'm very proud of them. They're my babies just like my pets are. So thank you, Helen's Daughters. This is not just about us helping you. This is about you helping us. And I here pledge that the St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association will continue to work with you on this very inspiring journey. And when you call on us, we will be here. Thank you.
Now we have a long list of partners here. But before we go on and call our next partner, I think it would be best that Miss Carew give you all a little more background into how we develop our partnerships. Miss Carew?
Thank you, Ms. Pompilis. As I mentioned before, well, Dr. Clark preceded me, but today's event is also about the power of partnerships. So this particular section, you're going to hear from every single entity and person that has been supporting us along the way. Helen's Daughters Reimagined, as we say, we are not solely an agricultural organization, but we use agriculture as an entry point for overall development, which is why you see entities like St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association, because there is a linkage between agriculture and health and wellness and food and nutrition. St. Lucia Hotel and Tourism Association, agriculture and tourism can actually coexist. We do not need to be competing entities. Again, Renwick and Company with our supplies and inputs and so forth. Hotel Chocolat, a clear example of agritourism, but also really a partner in our programming, particularly for young women. Sir Arthur Lewis Community College, we are really happy to be able to invest and support women being educated in the agricultural sector. So this section, I invite you to just hear from all our partners. So thank you once again.
Thank you, Ms. Carew, for letting us know who our partners are. I now call and invite Mr. Cuvell Prosper, who is the Ethics and Sustainability Manager of Hotel Chocolat, to give some brief remarks.
Good morning, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, and allow me to mention how stunning everyone looks. Yes, so we, Hotel Chocolat, we are often misconstrued for just an ordinary hotel in St. Lucia, but actually we're a lot more than that. We're actually a chocolatier, a British-owned chocolate company with a chain of stores throughout the UK. We've got stores in Japan and in the USA as well. We came to St. Lucia in the year 2006 to purchase the Rabware estate, the well-known Rabware estate, with the intention to connect agriculture with our luxury product. We wanted to understand the process behind farming, the difficulties that our farmers faced, and we just really wanted to get involved in the farming as well. As a result, we then wanted to get involved with our local community and started our Island Growers Cocoa Program, which currently consists of over 70 farmers throughout St. Lucia, who we support. We supply seedlings, technical advice, etc., and it's been a success. Now, we started in 2020 communicating with Helen's Daughters, and we were really captivated by the ethics and what they wanted to achieve and just what they had already done on the island. And we decided really we wanted to work with Helen's Daughters. And that's where our idea for our apprenticeship program came about, because we just built Project Chocolat, and we thought that was a perfect location to make something happen with Helen's Daughters. And I would like to say kudos to them and the work that they've been doing throughout the years. Thank you to Mr. Thaddeus Constantine. He's our guru, and he's really put together the structure. It's a one-of-a-kind structure and the only one on the island. It will provide a platform for many youth to come through and learn as much as possible. We want to empower people, empower rural women in particular, to go forward and do the best. So I'd like to say thank you again. Thanks for having us. We intend to maintain a positive relationship with Helen's Daughters throughout St. Lucia for years to come. And as Kiflin mentioned very briefly, I assume many of you did not hear that part, but possibly Africa as well, because we do a lot of work in Ghana and in Latin America, and let's just see how we could expand and go globally with Helen's Daughters. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Prosper. And yes, Helen Daughters, some say, will move to Africa. We will be going to Africa. I now call on Dr. Kurt Harris, Assistant Principal of the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College, to give some remarks.
Good morning to all, and just a point of correction, it's just Kurt Harris, it's not doctor. I leave the doctors to the back. Sir Arthur Lewis is extraordinarily proud to be a partner with Helen's Daughters. Anything that seeks to impact human capacity development is what Sir Arthur Lewis Community College is about, and even more so, looking to impact rural women and ensuring that rural women get a place at the table and have that opportunity and platform to push off is something that Sir Arthur Lewis will forever be a part of. So I will be extremely brief and say thank you to Helen's Daughters for seeing Sir Arthur Lewis as a partner to develop rural women here in St. Lucia and possibly beyond. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kurt Harris. I now invite Miss Cheryl Rennick of Rennick and Company. I wish I had my farmer's ID, well, my Helen's daughter's ID, so you would see what it is. When I present this to Rennick and Company, I get all the discounts you could imagine.
Morning, everybody. Wow. I mean, usually you will come to these meetings and you might get bored, but there have been so many interesting speeches from everybody. Today, I'm really proud for three other reasons apart from all the other things that I've heard. I stand here to represent my amazing Garden Center team, who have been so happy to service the members of your organization. Thank you for trusting us to help you, and we look forward to continue building our relationship. Secondly, I'm delighted to have the personal opportunity to wish Helen's Daughters, a St. Lucia non-profit organization with a special focus on the rural woman economic development, all the very best and continued success and development as we celebrate the International Day of the Rural Woman. We are gathered here today to recognize and honor the many hardworking and dedicated rural women of Helen's Daughters, and I think we should give them another round of applause. Thirdly, I also stand here to represent my mentor, my dad, Chris Rennick, who founded Rennick and Company back in 1966, maybe long before some of you were born, through the distribution of agricultural inputs. Although we lost him almost 6 years ago, his legacy lives on, all through the Garden Center. He would have been so proud of the achievements of your organization, and I'm sure would have publicly acknowledged the commitment and dedication to Helen's Daughters' success to its founder, Caitlin Carew, although I know she will always say that it takes a team, it's not one person, but you must have somebody to sow that seed. We at Rennick and Company and Garden Center thank you for all you do for our nation. We remain committed to finding ways to work closer with all our agricultural partners. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cheryl Renwick. What better partner can one have than, I would hate to put it this way, but as many times I send emails and calls, I don't think he would refuse it. And he's always looking forward to it. So I now call on Mr. Omari Frederick.
Thank you very much, Mistress of Ceremonies. Permit me, of course, to adopt the protocol which has already been established. I will first like to start by saying Happy International Day of Rural Women. Rural women cultivating good food for all. It is no coincidence that I stand before you representing Bank of St. Lucia. Our very predecessor institution, NCB, was formed in 1981 against the backdrop of the banana industry. So we are rooted in agriculture, and we intend to stay right there. In 2021, we were contacted by Miss Caitlin Carew of then Helen's Daughters, and that commenced a very fruitful relationship between Helen's Daughters and Bank of St. Lucia. In her earlier comments, she mentioned, oh boy, I don't know how Bank of St. Lucia has so much patience with Helen's Daughters. But I hate to mention the fact to her that whether you like it or not, you're stuck with us. Upholding the principles of responsible banking, supporting women, rural women, women's empowerment, and of course supporting the UN Sustainable Development Goals are very near and dear to the hearts of Bank of St. Lucia. And this is what led to our relationship with Helen's Daughters, from supporting the Helping Helen Thrive initiative, to the Farmers Market, to the Health and Wellness Fair, Health and Wellness Clinic, apologies. We look forward, of course, more importantly, to devising more meaningful ways, as you would have discussed, Caitlin, prior, of giving you greater access to financial services and devising much more personalized financial solutions in support of rural women. Over the next few months, I am now bustling with excitement because we are hoping before the close of this year to make an exciting announcement about a very new partnership that is in support of a women's economic empowerment guaranteed facility, which should be launched in St. Lucia very shortly. So women farmers have a lot more to look forward to through the collaborations with Bank of St. Lucia. And lastly, because I know I'm the second to last speaker, to our HD family, we say thank you for the opportunity to partner. We look forward to crystallizing our relationship more formally, of course, by way of that long-awaited MOU. We look forward to crystallizing that and doing even more to assist you in expanding beyond the realms of the Caribbean to Africa and across the globe. Finally, we salute our farmers, our sheroes. You are the true champions of this initiative, and Bank of St. Lucia, as a loyal and committed partner, will be right here by your side. Together, and I'm going to steal a quote from earlier, we will continue to keep the torch of the agricultural revolution burning bright. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Frederick. Last year I hijacked your speech, but this year I'll be very kind. I'm only just going to say thank you for being all the bank that Helen's daughters need. We realize that there are big plans for us, and we look forward to continue working with you. At this point, we're going to invite our Minister, Dr. Virginia Albert Poyet. They say save the best for last, and as a matter of fact, you will be our last presenter. Dr. Poyet.
Good morning, all. Let me recognize the protocol that has been established, and it would be remiss of me if I did not make my presence here today amidst a very packed agenda on this Friday, end of the week. I need to congratulate the Helen's daughters for a very great initiative. I need to thank all the partners who have given them the support to reach the height at which they have been navigating over the clouds. My presence here is multifaceted in that I have always been somebody who is very passionate about advancement of women. And those of you who may have a little idea of my background, you would have known that I'm true to the cause. I'm very committed about it. So I associate very strongly with advancement of women. I came from a rural environment, so I am pretty rural. And agriculture has been the foundation of all what I know in the community where I was born, raised, and have lived all my life. And I bring here the presence and support from the government and people of St. Lucia to Helen's daughters. And I'm also the minister with responsibility for gender affairs. So that too coins my legitimacy to be in that midst. But I will, when I end, I will tell you what the further legitimacy is. So I also believe in the empowerment of women. Because if we look at the issue of gender equality, there are a number of areas that we find women are lagging behind. Not that they are incapable or they do not have the competencies, but because of the nature in our society, where we have been raised and taught to believe that men are supposed to dominate everything. So women have accepted that in terms of how they were socialized. But I'm happy that now they are seeing the light, and with the presence of technology, women have access to a lot more information now. So they realize they need to take advantage of opportunities out there. And as a result, we are actually working towards creating that gender balance. So I want to congratulate Kathleen Carew, and I just want to remind you that she is not just Helen's daughters. She is Babono's daughter. Okay? She is from Babono. That's my constituency. That's where she was born, raised, and has lived all her life. And a very small community where she is from, which is the Foaso community, I was the principal of that school for 13 years. So I actually made an impact in that community to help these children with their education. And Fonwaso has been a strong agricultural community. And I also have a passion for agriculture. I believe that is what we need for full food security. We have a high percentage of import bill, and we do not eat what we grow. We have taught our children to love macaroni and cheese and all the rice and all the things that we don't grow here. So I'm hoping that Helen's daughters will move one step further to make St. Lucians love the things that we grow and enjoy them. And we need to work closely with the schools so that we can socialize them in enjoying and appreciating the things that we grew. Millions of dollars of our monies leave our shores and go to external places where we create employment. What we should do is create the employment here, create the opportunities here. Let our men and women benefit, and let our children enjoy what we grow and what we eat. So congratulations, Helen's daughters. Keep up the good work. And on behalf of the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, my cabinet colleagues, I wish to pledge our support to continue to strengthen the organization and for the advancement of women in St. Lucia. I thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Albert Poyot. Happy that you said women are seeing the light and creating the gender balance. Helen Daughters is now teaching our children to eat the green figs, the plantain, and the breadfruit, the bois pain. We have now come to the end of our program, and I now invite Miss Liana Dolce to the podium to give the vote of thanks.
A pleasant good day to everyone here today. I would like to adopt the protocols already established, and I would like to be brief so we can all. I'm so excited to stand here to see all these supportive faces today, and it's a privilege to express how we thank all of you on this special International Day of Rural Women for your presence here and partnering with us to observe today for our rural women, our heroes, as we highlight them as stars of this occasion. It is also an honor for me to share my experiences with you and my gratitude to Helen's daughters. I will give a little background. I am a rural woman. I am from, like Mrs. Poyer said, Babuno. I'm Joe Babuno. And I am a product of two farmers. My mom is a Shiro. I was born and raised eating what she grew and what my family grew. And I was drawn to Helen's Daughters about 5 years ago when Miss Carew posted her first horse story on, of course, my mom. Her name is Helena. And this is how I became drawn to Helen's Daughters. And since then, my mom was a part of the first training of the Women's Academy. And this is when I could see the light for rural women in St. Lucia because of Helen's Daughters. And I thank you for that, Helen's Daughters. It has also been an overwhelming opportunity to be inspired by the other rural women here, well, members of Helen's Daughters. And this is why I serve on the board today. I also developed a true drive to see that Helen's Daughters become global, like we've seen in many of our stories with the other islands, and to sustain the development of us as a network. With that being said, I would like to say thank you to all our partners and our contributors here who've made today a success. Dr. Snack, is she here? Oh no, she's not. Oh, sorry. Dr. Snack, thank you so much for reminding us that 38% of our farmers are registered farmers, and we hope to see that number increase with Helen's Daughters being a pillar in the society of St. Lucia. Dr. Merle Clark, is she here? Thank you so much. Oh, she's not. But But thank you for making sure that our wellness clinics were also a success, and the St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association. Mr. Kuba Prosper, thank you for making Hotel Chocolat our first home away from home, and reminding us that there is a possibility for Helen's Daughters to become global and move to Africa. Thank you, Mr. Kurt Harris, for presenting the opportunity for our 2 scholarships at the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. I would also like to thank Ms. Rennick and the Garden Center. Where is she? Oh, thank you, Ms. Rennick, and your team at the Garden Center. This collaboration would not be possible without you guys. Thank you so much again. Also, Mr. Frederick of Bank of St. Lucia, thank you. And you also mentioned that we went way back from NCB and the linkage has always been there. We're now recognizing it. Thanks to Helen's Daughters in here today, you're reminding us of that. Also, last but not least, our parliamentary rep. You did mention your background from Babonu and that you are a true hero to our development. Mine, of course, because I am a product of the Foasa Primary School where she was the principal, and I was one of the last students to be graced with her presence when she left. So thank you for being here today on behalf of the government of St. Lucia and gracing us with your presence. And to our countless supporters, past, present, and future, on behalf of Helen's Daughters, please accept our sincerest gratitude for your belief in our collective as our tribe, and our work with Helen's Daughters will continue. I will close with our mantra. If you ate today, thank a farmer. Thank you to everyone. Bonjour, merci. And one more thing. I have a little surprise, if you don't mind having 1 minute of your time. Today would not be possible, guys, if it was not for our executive director. And I would like to present our executive director with a token of our appreciation on behalf of Helen's Daughters. Please come up. Please give us some encouragement. This lady has gone above and beyond. From the time I made contact with Helen's Daughters, we know it has been wonderful, and we know there is more to come. So thank you again. Merci, merci, merci. Bonjour tout le monde.
Well, we have already said all the thanks, and so we've come to the end of our program. Before you leave, we have a few refreshments to offer you, and I guess some of you may profit the opportunity to do a little networking. Have a blessed, and do remember HD tomorrow on the International Day of the Rural Woman. Thank you.
I've been able to meet so many wonderful customers, and I've been able to showcase my CMOS gel, CMOS products. We have sizzling, vegetables, herbs, spices. Every single lady here has something to offer, and it's just been a wonderful experience.